I am this close to launching my first BigCommerce app, and then I realized I got to price the thing. I thought kind of getting back into development, learning React, and all of the new technologies was going to be the difficult thing, but pricing is hard. It's really hard. So I wanted to share a little bit in terms of the tidbits that I picked up, kind of as I've dived deep into this area about pricing SaaS apps. Now, firstly, shout out to Martin, our chairman, who put me on to Kobloom, who are essentially a SaaS pricing consultancy. So, perfect recommendation. They have webinars, blog content, and a newsletter series for pricing. They give away a huge amount of tidbits that have been really helpful when I've been thinking about this. One of them that I want to call out is the 10x rule in terms of pricing your product around the value that it brings. And so, if your product brings about £1,000 a month in terms of value to the customer or perceived value, then it should be charged at about £100 a month. So that 10x difference. That was really helpful. So I know that when I'm thinking about each app that I build, whether or not it saves somebody's time in terms of managing their catalog, or perhaps ideally increasing kind of revenue on store, you can look into pricing that way. So I found that really helpful as a starting point. I also looked into the BigCommerce marketplace itself. So if we go here, there's about 500 or so apps on there, and many of which are priced based on a monthly subscription. So I had a look, and in general, it seems like the starting fee it appears to be about $30 a month. Many apps, many SaaS apps have tiers. So whether that was the next thing I looked into, whether that be based on product features. So do you get more features at a higher level plan, common on things, here's an example from Shogun. They have different features based on price points. We'll all be familiar with this. So then you've got to go down sort of the rabbit hole of deciding, what features are in what version, thinking about your target customer and things like that. So I'm certainly interested in, and I think that's going to make sense. There's a broad range of merchants that are selling on BigCommerce, from those that are just starting out all the way up to enterprises, which is certainly a target market that I'm very interested in. So you want to kind of receive the value that you create. There's also those that price based on, and they try and get other metrics to decide on sort of the recouping the value that you generate. And so one way of doing that is judging the number of orders, the amount of revenue that goes through the store, or in this case, the number of products that go through the store. That one I'm not as keen on, particularly when you have sort of like this many options. I think that's probably confusing. So the other recommendation from Kobloom was maybe to aim for about 3 different tiers of pricing, which is it's certainly from the small apps I'm building right now. Probably I'm not going to get there straight away. I think I'll probably launch with a single tier. Just getting something to market will be an achievement, and then look into how do I create a second tier so that I can have a low barrier entry to those smaller stores, and maybe giving a more restricted feature set, but a feature set that they're going to kind of make use of most of the features, rather than having a large feature set that they won't use most of. And then I can break out a second tier for the larger merchant, which has more advanced features that they perhaps would expect to even get on board, and I perhaps can offer priority support as a sort of another value add of that second tier. So those are things I'm thinking about right now. Thinking about the price points, what are the competitors pricing at, how might I tier it, and the last item is around free trials versus sort of freemium. And all of the recommendations I've seen seems to be to value free trial over freemium. If freemium is the idea of having a free plan with the most basic set of features. The challenge being supporting the number of customers on that plan when they're not bringing you any value, in the hope that they might upgrade at some point. I think right now I certainly prefer the idea of a free trial, and I want to kind of work with at least 14 days. I feel like, particularly when I know my target market is developers and agencies sort of recommending apps to merchants based on a need, then I want to make sure they've got time to evaluate it. And 7 versus 14 versus 20 days doesn't really make much difference to me on that at that early point. And similarly, I want to kind of give it free for development stores. So if you're an agency kind of going through the project build, you shouldn't be paying for the app. We'll look into whether or not that gets to a point where that's too costly, and we need to work out maybe some feature restrictions. But I really like the idea of coming from our own perspective, is when you're trying out 3 different apps, you want to make sure it's easy. You don't want to have to go through the sign up process. You don't want to run out of your 14-day trial and then have to kind of sign up to even find out whether or not it's going to work. So one of the benefits around SaaS is that it's really quick to install and try. over having to download code and install it on your server and deploy it and then get it to the client. It's much quicker for people to try things out. So I wanna go with that and make sure that it's a great experience for customers, not only sort of the user experience of using the app, but actually the ability to sort of chop and change and try ours out and recognize, we're not going to be suitable for everyone. Yeah, I think that's kind of what I wanted to share today. The actual price point I settle on seems to change every week, but I think having something that's starting around $30 a month and then looking at some more advanced features at a slightly higher tier is kind of where I'm settling right now.